Okay, today we're looking at, is a shorter title, but the long of it is engaging in activities incompatible with your diplomatic status. We start with a song. The walls of Jericho fell down flat. The walls of Jericho fell down flat when the children of God were praising the Lord. The walls of Jericho fell down flat. Okay, the drama that we used to have in the Cold War scenario. Of course, it's still dramatic when you look at the espionage, what is happening in terms of espionage. But it's not as dramatic as during the Cold War. Because the Soviet Union, of course, will send a lot of spies to the US will send spies to the Soviet Union. And then when they are caught, that is when the title of the podcast is really what comes into play. They say that they've expelled this particular set of diplomats because they were caught engaging in activities incompatible with their diplomatic status. But of course, we know that spying didn't start today. Even in scripture, there are spies. The most popular one, of course, is the spies that were sent to the promised land and brought back an evil report. And of course, the rest is history. But in Joshua chapter 2, verse 1, when the children of Israel were now ready to take over the promised land, Joshua, the son of Nun, sent two men from Acacia Grove to spy secretly, saying, go view the land, especially Jericho. So basically, there's a basis for spying. I don't know whether this is what has informed international espionage. Now it has gotten to the stage of it's very digital now, where people hack into your nuclear facilities or even sabotage your nuclear facilities, where you actually have people being physically sent to particular countries, posing either as diplomats or business people, but they're basically there to gather intelligence, which is then sent back to their home country. And then, of course, you have industrial espionage, whether you have a semi-also a talk shop or you are a giant corporation, there's a lot of espionage going on. People want to know what you are up to, what it is that is the next big project that you're working on. And so they try to get a mold inside to provide that kind of insider information. That's why you see people who invest in shredders. They shred every document to be sure that nobody else can pick up any state of project that they are working on. But even at the level of individuals and families, we also see a bit of this. I think a lot of memes really target women. The husband is sleeping, and then she uses his fingerprint, to open it, to make sure that his phone comes on so that she can see what he's up to. And then, of course, parents also look out for what their children are up to in terms of what they watch on cable, their social media, diets. I don't know whether you can now see this is the basis for those kinds of individual, family, industrial, or international espionage. But I think what we can learn from this is the fact that we can pay a lot of attention to details. Even if you look at Genesis 18, verse 20, then the Lord said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great because their sin is so grievous. I will go down to see if their actions fully justify the outcry that has reached me. So in terms of God was, getting some outcry from Sodom and Gomorrah, but he just wanted to be sure that this is actually the case. And he went down. And of course, if you read that particular account, I think it was horrible. What they, subjected the messengers to was, unconscionable. So I think part of what we can learn from all of this is let's make assurance doubly sure. Before we take actions, we can always confirm. We can go over it over and over again. Read past question papers if you're a student. Gather that intelligence if you're a business person before you take a particular decision. Just gather as much information as possible so that you can take the right decision.